for quantitative data, I have a different data set before us, and this reports 16 variables for the 50 states and the District of Columbia. These data are taken from around the mid-1980s, so it's an old set of data. The first type that I'll demonstrate is creating a histogram. We'll come up to Graph, open the menu for Graphs, select Chart Builder, and now this time I will come down and I will select the category Histogram under the Gallery tab. I'll click the first one, our first icon for a simple histogram. Click and drag the icon for a simple histogram to the chart preview area. Now I'm going to report poor percent, so click under the variables list, poor percent. I'll click and drag it to the x-axis, and now what I'll do is add titles. The first title will be histogram. Apply. The second level title will be percent of state population below poverty. I believe this is for 1988. Click Apply. And the footnote will be source 1988 U.S. Statistical Abstract. And click Apply. Now we can go up again under the Edit Properties of, click on Title 1 to see in the content area what's listed there for it, Title 2, and also footnote. I'll click OK. And here we have our histogram, and add it to the bottom of our output. Now you notice one thing, I made a mistake in terms of the year. That should be 1979. But you also will notice that automatically creates quite a few bars for us. It's about 14 bars that it created. Now that may be a little bit too much, but I'll show you here in a moment how to control the number of bars that are included or reported on a histogram. So I'll move my cursor on top of the plot area and double click the left mouse button to open up the chart editor. The first thing I'll do is double click on that second level title, and now I'll move my cursor between 19 and 88. 2 deletes to get rid of the 88. I'll type in 79, hit enter to get out of that. I also will click once on the source information, the footnote. Again, move my cursor between the 9 and the 8 in the year. Hit the delete space twice. Now I'll put in 1980 as the source for that information. So that's how we can easily change then what we have listed. The next thing that I'd like to do is to modify the number of bars that are reported, or the bins that are used. I'll move the cursor over top of the bars, left mouse click once to highlight those, and now you'll notice that what comes up under properties is binning. This allows us to control the number of bars or the bin width that's reported. Currently it's selected as automatic under the x-axis. I will choose custom, and one thing I can do is simply enter in the number of intervals I'd like to use, which that would be 4 bars. Click apply, and you notice now only 4 bars are reported. Or perhaps what I'd like to do instead is to identify myself what the interval width is. That is, how wide the category is, the bin width of each bar. And let's say I want to make it 3 percentage points for each bar or each bin width. And now you notice it reports really 8 bars, even though there's no bar between 20 and 23 and 26 and 30. And if this, I think, is a more appropriate way of describing the distribution, of visually displaying it, then what I can do is click close. So each bar, or the bin width for each of those bars that's plotted in this histogram, contains a range of 3 percentage points. So the very lowest bar contains the range from 5% up to 8%. The next bar contains the range of 9% up to 11%, and so on. If I'm done with my chart, I simply close the chart editor, and there I'm back to my output window, and I see it's been added at the bottom of my log. Visually displayed in more than just a histogram. And the next thing I'll demonstrate is the use of a dot plot. We'll come up to Graphs, open the Graphs menu, come down and select Chart Builder. I will click on Gallery, and here what I'll do is select Scatter or Dot, and I'll select on this basic simple dot plot, click and drag to bring it up to the chart preview area, and you notice it replaces the histogram with the dot plot. I'll still use the %% variable. If I wanted to change it, I would click and drag and bring it over to the variable list, but I do still want to use that variable. So I'll click and drag it back, put it under %. I'll also click on titles and footnotes. The first title, and I enter in the content window, is dot plot. Apply to enter it. Title 2 would be % of poverty, or % of state population below poverty, 1979. Apply, and again I'll add my footnote, the source, 1980 U.S. Statistical Abstract, and apply. Now that we've got the information that we want, click OK, and you'll see our dot plot is provided below. Now let's modify that. That may be a little difficult for us to see if we copy and paste it into a Word document. So I'll move my cursor on top of the plot area, double left mouse click, and again I'll double mouse click the plot area itself. I'll choose fill of transparent, no fill color. I'll make the border that surrounds the plot area a little bit thicker. Click apply. There we see it's thicker. And let's say that the dots themselves may be difficult to really discern if we put this into the middle of a paper. So I'll move my cursor on top of one of the dots, double left mouse click, and up comes the properties for that dot plot. And what I'm going to do is change the fill color to black. I could choose a different color, perhaps. And there you see the charcoal gray, if you will. Come back and make it instead purple, if that's what you would like to have. But I just did the border in purple. I'll do the fill in purple also. But I think what probably will work best will be to use a gray fill, cancel that, and the border I'll make it to be black. Now I'll click apply, and now you see the dots are gray on the inside, so a solid gray, then with the black border around them. Close the chart editor, And now that dot plot would look much nicer and be easier to see in the midst of a paper. Plot is another way that we can display visually quantitative variables. To perform a stem and leaf plot, I'll come up to the menus at the top, and this time I'll click on Analyze to open that menu, come down to Descriptive Statistics, and I'll come over and choose Explore. Now what I'll do is scroll down in the list of variables up to find that same variable, poor percent. Click on the button next to the dependent list box. And now you notice down below this routine can display statistics, plots, or both. We just wish to choose the plots for now, and I'll come up to the plots button to see what plots we can choose. We can choose a stem and leaf plot, which is what we want, and it can also generate a histogram, and we can superimpose a normality plot on top of either the stem and leaf plot or the histogram, which can be useful at times. But for now, we'll just generate a stem and leaf plot. Close that button, click OK, and you'll see our stem and leaf plot here is plotted below. Now, even though we did not choose the box plot, it also plots a box plot for us. But I'll show you another way in which you can also generate a box plot. We'll come up to Graph, click on Chart Builder. Again, we'll use the poor percent variable. Click on Gallery. I'll come down and choose Box Plot. And this I'll just choose a simple 1D box plot. Click and drag that icon up to the preview area. Now here I'm also going to enter in titles. The first title will be Box Plot. Click Apply. The second title will be Percent of State Population Below Poverty, 1979. Apply. And again, the footnote will be for source, 1980 U.S. Statistical Abstract. Click Apply. Now that my settings are OK, I'll click OK. And we see our box plot is provided down below. So we can generate a box plot either from the Explore option, under the Descriptives command, under the Analyze menu, or we can again use the Graph Builder to create a box plot. Plots that I wish to for these data, what I'll do is save all of my output. I'll come up to File, come down to Save As, and I will save the output under my SPSS tutorial directory, and I will type in charts and click Save.